Okay, here we go. Oops, sorry. Just totally blew your speakers out. Sorry about that. Don't hit the microphone with your guitar. That makes your audience sad. Look at my crazy hairdo. Getting time for a haircut. My hairdresser had his hips replaced, and so I have to look like a maniac now. All right, let's go get the link posted on the website. Website is Website is denverguitarorchestra.com. And I'm going to go post this link here real quick so everybody can come hang out with us. Probably be a relatively small crew tonight. We've been working on this for a little while, and hopefully people are getting around where they're playing pretty well. We're adding in, well, Imagine a Wonderful World we've had for a couple of weeks, and Silent Night is new tonight. Tonight is when we begin the switch over to all Christmas music. And so let's make sure the link is working here. Click. And sure enough, that takes us where we need to go. There's the link. Okay. Yes, I still need to fix that a little bit. That should get everybody in here. Let's see. Oh gosh, there's always something funny, isn't there? Oh goodness. Let's see. All right, who's here? Hey, Elizabeth, you're in. Hi there. Hi, how are you? I was being distracted by all of the other stuff on the internet, and I gotta get ready to play guitar, right? Let's see. Got all these. Ever since they updated this little gadget here, I've been having to refile everything. I'm sort of surprised that when you do an update, all of a sudden you have to reallocate everything. It's kind of crazy. Silent Night guitar. There it is. All right, that's the one I was looking for. Move to baritone. So imagine Silent Night and Wonderful World, right? I think that's it. Hey, Vic, welcome in. Sound is good. Okay. Hey, Bill. Hey, bud. Good to see you, man. We miss you during the week, Bill. You got to quit your job. That's what I think you should do. A lot more guitar playing when you don't have a job. I know, you wish, right? Just sell everything you got, move into a van. That's my plan. As soon as I can, I'm moving into one of those RVs, the little ones, and drive around, just park wherever. Seems like the way to go. Hey, Pauline, welcome in. Well, guys, I like to start as quickly as possible on this, and we'll play for a while, and then we'll see where we're at. While we're sitting here working, we're going to switch to lots more holiday music, Christmas music, Hanukkah music, over Thanksgiving music, if there is any. I think there's one Thanksgiving song I'm aware of. So we're going to switch to a bunch of that starting this week. And so if you are getting your noggin about songs that you would like to be working on, and we can either talk about them here online, or we can you can toss me an email. I'm having a terrible time getting to emails these days, so I will, if you send me emails, know that I will probably read it, but I probably won't write you back. I've been just having a terrible time with getting to all of that. In the meantime, as you're thinking about your favorite Christmas tunes and tunes you want to play on guitar, let's go ahead and get tuned up. I'd like to play, which one do I want to play first? Let's play Imagine first. I'd like to get it out of the way. I'll go on my while my belief in my abilities is still intact. Weather's been warming up, so guitar, of course, starts to get a little loose. Okay, and also let me. I'll say it now, and then remind me a couple of times more to say it. But next Thursday, I do have my condominium board meeting, and so we won't have a meeting next Thursday night, and then we'll have. I think we have 3 in a row before Christmas. So, and so. So we'll have a couple of weeks where I want to just dump you off a bunch of Christmas music. Now, a whole bunch of that Christmas music's already sitting on the sheet music page at denverguitarorchestra.com. So if you go there and go to the sheet music page, you can scroll down to the bottom of that, and that's where all the Christmas tunes are. I would say most of them, I won't change the arrangement substantially. What I've been doing is putting in count-in tracks on everything and just sort of cleaning them up for the internet a little bit. And so if it's on that page, obviously feel free to take it. None of the modern sheet music is posted, and I'm happy to give you copies of that. And then also, if there's anything that's not on there, like a song that you really love that's not on there, toss me a note about it, because I do want to add a few songs each year to the Christmas book. And so look through there when you have a time. Not now, we're going to play guitar now, but over the next week or so, and let me know if there's anything on there that, man, I'd love to play that on guitar. Sometimes I'm into it too, and I will do an arrangement. Sometimes I have thousands of fingerstyle sheets that I've stolen from various the dark corners of the internet. Most of them are terrible, but it can at least get you something, And of course, you guys can Google as well and dig around for sheet music. But most of the stuff is pretty crummy, and so that going in, I end up wasting so much time on sheet music that I found on the internet, and it's just a waste of time. Usually, is what it is. But anyway, let me know what kind of Christmas tunes are feeling. What you're feeling this year. We'll see if we can't get a few of them. Okay, imagine. I think we've had a couple weeks of working on this, so I think I've discussed all of the main issues. The only issue that I have changed on my sheet music, go to measure 6, and you'll see what I'm talking about. In measure 6, you of course have your F chord, and ideally you're putting the whole F chord on, and then you're plucking 2 3 3 or 3 3 2, I should say, and then 3 2 1. That's what's written there. What I have thought was experimenting around with this week is, what if I cheated on that? What if I didn't do a full bar chord and played 3 2 1? What if I just put my E shape on, but on the 2nd fret, okay? And then I get my 3 3 2. And then instead of playing 3 2 and then trying to figure out how to get to 1, what if I just came back to 3? So and then I would play plonk, 3 2 3. It's every bit as good. They're just decorative notes in there anyway, and it minimizes my chance of having a terrible F chord. I've done that on the first page in basically everywhere where the F shows up on the first page. But after that, I'm finding that, well, I guess I would be doing it all the way through the 2nd page as well. But there are other F chords where it really doesn't work very well, especially if there's a melody note that's different. You probably still need to put your F chord on. So I guess make your own decisions about the best way to play this. But I was trying to just get completely away from bar chords in this, and I don't necessarily think that's going to be possible. So I just want to let you know, be experimental, try to find ways that you can play it and avoid the terrible stuff. That's what I do, shorten the F bar. Okay, yeah, and there's that one, and this one. right? So lots of choices. Be creative. Come up with a way that makes you happy to play. And obviously, a long term, your goal is F chord, perfect every single time, no matter what. That's easy to talk about. It's definitely a goal, but getting it in reality is sometimes harder than you think it would be. All right, so pick any way you want to play it. Again, I do think the intro is important in this song. I think is iconic, and so I think we want to get that as close as possible. And then if you are playing melody, just play melody. If you are singing, grab the chords, do some sort of nice arpeggio pattern up against your voice. And of course, as you guys know, I'm a tough axe fanatic to the end, and so that's how I like to play. And so let's see how I do on this, and let's see how you do. So here we go from the top. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and measure 18, go. moments things go pretty smooth, and then all of a sudden moments that things that completely blow up on you. All right, so let's see. Gets very repetitive, just enough variation between what seems very repetitive and what's not, that it's hard to memorize the whole thing. I think probably singing the words. Some of you guys are of an age where you spent some time with this song growing up, and so having the words in your head, I think, is particularly helpful on this. I ate a piece of cake right before last piece of my birthday cake I ate, and now I'm having cake getting caught up in my throat. So it's not, I'm not crying because of the beauty of the music, believe me. Because I'm making the music and it sounds pretty iffy so far. Let's hope for a better time, second time around. Okay, let's go from the top. Same thing, play in your manner. We're all warmed up now. We should be able to just kill it, right? From the top, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Get that 2 on. I'm going to start from the top. Let's start from the top again. And I've got my 2 ready to go. How about that? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Give me your thoughts. How are you playing? Is that song coming together for you? Um, it's hard. C, F, and G's, right? And just enough random melody notes that show up. You're like, oh, what in the world is that note doing there? Vic says, hey, I jumped over to melody. How'd you do on it? That's the question. The melody is fine, right? It's a good melody. People know this song. And so uh, I do think, particularly if you're newer playing guitar, this would be a longer term project. Probably this is something that is C is not a friendly chord at all. F is a hostile chord at best, and then of course G doesn't show up in its pure form anywhere in the song, but lots of times you're going to be holding this two down and getting some stuff and getting that on there cleanly, and then making sure you get this other two that shows up on the third string on a regular basis at the same time. For me, I'm fighting that quite a bit. So the overall chord structure of this is exactly the original key, but it's definitely a chord structure that I would probably be like, I think next time I arrange this, I might put it into a little bit easier key. Pauline says better than better than when I was first playing it. Could definitely use more work. Oh yeah, we're going to hang on to this through the Christmas season. So uh, arpeggios make it harder than strumming. I think that's the beauty of arpeggios is that sometimes they're awesome and sometimes they're just hard. If I take that beginning section, you really do have to do what's written. Because if you just played the chords, you've lost it, right? Nothing about that is correct. If you go into singing the song with the chords, imagine there's no heaven. Yeah, you get away with it. It would be fine, but it wouldn't be awesome. If you pluck it or arpeggiate it, imagine there's no heaven. It is if you try. You might get away with it, right? I'm just now thinking it through instantaneously in the moment, but you might get away with that if you're singing and then arpeggiating the chords. You might actually be able to get that boom, 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 boom feeling to it. You might be able to come up with something if you like singing the song. Yeah, and I think be really really patient with yourself. You guys that are chords are in that process of, hey, I understand what chord melody is. I understand tough acts. Can't always play it, but I understand it. So I'm going to start doing a little bit more with arpeggios. Know that arpeggios, you would think it would be very straightforward, but it's really not. I think our orchestra here, for the most part, it tends to be the more advanced players who want to do arpeggio picking because it does require a pretty decent understanding of how the melody is working, how the chords are working, how all that stuff is playing together, and then finding your moments to really make an arpeggio stand out. It's quite a bit harder than you'd think. So we'll hang on to Imagine. Absolutely. I can use a lot more work. I haven't had enough time to just really sit down and study my exact finger motions. So I keep making up a few of them. I got pretty solid on what I wanted to do with my F chords, but I didn't. The G chords were what were eating me alive. And then that daggone D minor, I don't think I've hit it correctly yet. And so, I definitely want to hang on to this. So I'm going to count Imagine as a Christmas song. We're going to hang on to it through all the three of the songs tonight. We're going to hang on to them for a while. We won't study them probably in any more depth, but we will continue to play them. Same thing with Wonderful World. Go ahead and grab that one out. This one we studied it quite a bit. We pretty much have a handle on what we need to do here, and now it's just a matter of playing it 8 million times to get what our smoothness in. Biggest challenge on this one is remembering your repeats, and hopefully you've already marked your music. But you're going to play down through 16, and then you go back to 1, play down through 13, and then jump to 17. And then when after playing all the way down through 35, you come back to number 1, play down through 13, and then jump to 36 to wrap it out. And then try not to slow down tempo wise from 36 to the end, because the music, I have written it to slow down and go from eighth notes to quarter notes. And the only place you'll actually slow down is measure 43. So let's give it a try. And again, be proud of songs like this. This is jazz, you guys. This messes with your head. So be proud of what you can do. If it's chords, do your chords. If you can't do the chords, do your chords. Right? Play melody if you're working on that. And remember, on this one, when you see 5s and 7s, you really probably do want to play those in 5th position. Put your index finger on 5 and your ring finger on 7. Otherwise, you're going to miss them, right? If you're dragging your pinky up and down there, you're going to miss that on melody. So let's go through, play it any way that makes you happy, and then we'll do this a couple times, and then I want to dig into Silent Night. From the top, as written, pick your style of play, whatever makes you happy, and let's go through it. 1, I'm going to count it in eighth notes, and I'm going to count 2. 1, 2. not too bad. That F sharp minor up at the top is pretty brutal, but otherwise I like that tune. Right. I think last week Elizabeth mentioned, hey, those B flats sound cool. They sound really cool. I don't know if I'd ever paid that much attention to it, but yeah, they sound really nice. If you just drop in, instead of an A chord, you just move that up and just grab those three strings. I mean, it's not for some reason that it's just an A chord up on the wrong string on wrong frets, and boy, it sounds really cool. Did better on this song. Yeah, that's good. You should. This song is still pretty darn hard, but it's not Imagine hard. And it's funny because Imagine, if you look at the paper, it looks rather easy to play, but it's not. This song, when you look at the paper, looks pretty darn challenging. It is challenging, but not near at the level of some of the other stuff we've done. And it just has a nice, pleasant way about it. I think what I'd like to do, I just played the whole thing with my thumb. I'd like to go back through and play it with my claw and see what the overall difference in tonality is and whether I like it. It's one of these songs where the slower you play it, the more likely you are to go with your thumb to get that nice, smooth sound to it. But this song gets played lots of different ways, as you guys know, and sometimes mixing it up a little bit, maybe changing it from time to time, one time thumb, one time claw. Find your best voicing for it. For me, the only thing that's really, really tough is the F sharp minor, bar on 2, ring on 4, pinky on 5. And I think probably what I don't mean to do it, but I'm almost positive when I get to something like that, I give myself permission to slow down, get that thing on there, and then strum it. And I think you should. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. If you're playing in an ensemble at a college level, no, that's not okay. But I think when you are a solo performer and you're reaching one of these chords, it's like, I hate that chord. It's really, really hard. Take just a smidge of extra time just to get it on clean, and then go. And if you're a little out of time, you're a little out of time. The time cops will show up and arrest you. But outside of that, nothing bad's going to happen to you. And I think just when you see a big nasty chord coming around, it's okay to take just a little extra second to get that sucker on and get it on clean. And of course, that's easy to talk about. Very hard to do. It's a little easier to do when you're not playing with me, right? When you're playing with me, you basically have to go at whatever pacing I say we're going at. But when you're at home, give yourself permission to get those really hard things on prior to strumming, so that you just get that clean sound you're looking for. All right, from the top, I'm going to try my claw this time and see what happens. 1, 2. I like it with a thumb way better. That would be my thought. Kind of interesting, right? When you find when you go to plucking that how easy it is to start. I find that I have this tendency to just start doing everything with four fingers, just everything, and sometimes you can lose subtlety by just doing that. Sometimes you pick it up with that. So, all right, guys. Hopefully that's coming along fine for you. We'll hang on to this one for a while as well. So keep that in your rotation, and then let's take out Silent Night. And Silent Night will be a relief compared to all those stuff. So we'll be doing for sure a lot of this traditional tunes on Christmas. We Wish You a Merry Christmas, First Noel, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, all that sort of Bing Crosby type stuff. But then I do have a number of modern songs arranged and plenty that I will convert from ukulele onto guitar. I think there's maybe 25 or something like that on the website. And I, of course, have probably double that many for ukulele. So we'll pick the ones that make you the happiest and make sure we cover as many of your bases as I can. And then, and then I'll fill in the gaps of whatever else you like. Vic says, bring them on. I am ready. It's fascinating. I had a Fundam Orthodox Jewish student for a couple of years, 3, I think, maybe 4. She got to be such a great player. And so when holiday would roll around, of course, I'm busy doing Santa Claus with everybody. And then with her, I started doing all of the Hanukkah songs. And it turns out the Hanukkah songs are a little iffy. Like Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song is by far the best one. But then their traditional ones are kind of they don't have the driving melody that you want to have this time of year. But a couple of them, one is called, I think it's called Nair Lee, and it's about a candle that's just really just wonderful. So we'll be adding those in as well. And if you come from a different tradition and you have a song you love, let me know about it, because you know me, I'm game for just about anything. As long as it's got a melody that comes together, I think let's work on them. All right, Silent Night. We'll mention that it's possible as a guitar player that somebody says, "Hey, come on over, let's sing some songs for Christmas," and you may find that you are in that position of needing to. Somebody will say, "Oh, that song is too high," or "I'm used to singing that in a different key," or whatever. You may run into that a little bit. Remember your 4-finger pattern. Silent Night is a 3-chord song: G, C, and D. Right. So when you're using your 1-4-5 program, if the main chord is G, you know that the other chords that are going to come up are A, B, C, and D. Okay. So 1-4-5. G, C, and D. Okay, so that's what you find in the song. You find some G's, find some C's, find some D's, and that's all that shows up in the song. But let's say you go to somebody wants to sing with you, Silent Night, and you say, "No, that's too low. I needed to have it higher." Well, just by going to A does not necessarily mean it's going to be higher. It's going to be different, but you may find that just because you think, "Oh, I'm in G, if I go to A, it'll be higher." That's not always true because of the inversions that we have on guitar. So it's not uncommon for you to go up a note and you think you're going up, and all of a sudden the guitar is coming out lower because of the way the tuning is set up on this. That's not true on piano. If you're playing in C and they say that's too low, then you go to D, and then you try E, and then you try F, because you're definitely going up. But with guitar, because it's always these goofy inversions, don't expect that just because you go up one chord that the song's going to go up a full step. So if I'm playing this song in G, Silent Night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. And let's say somebody says, "No, I don't like that key. I want to do it in a different key." So you remember, right now you're in G, skip these two, C and D. Let's switch it to A just to see what would happen. So then we try A, don't use B and C, D and E7 are now your 3 chords. A, D, and E7. And then try it singing it that way. Just go with A. So all your G's become A's, all your D's become E's, and all of your C's become D's. Okay, so everything has to go along with that. Try that. 1, 2. Silent night, holy night. Go to your fifth, which is E. All is calm. All back to A is brown. D, round yon virgin mother and child. Okay, you see what happens? We can still pull it off as long as we're just singing the chords. That maybe that makes it better for your voice. Maybe it makes it worse. Maybe it makes it closer to what you remember as a kid. Maybe it makes it completely weird. Let's say that A doesn't work. So G, A. So then you think, all right, well, B. Oh, I don't like B on guitar, so I'm not going to do B. What about C? Oh, that means F and G are coming along for right. Let's not do it in C. How about D? Aha. D, not E or F, G and A. So now it's D, G, A. Okay, so G chords become D chords. Okay, D chords here are now going to become A chords, and so on. Starting to make sense. It's a process. Transposing is a process. It is going to take you a little while to figure out. We always do it on 3-chord songs because when you get to a 12-chord song, then you got your work cut out for you. Then you have to start actually getting a pencil out to do them. But on a 3-chord song, it's worth talking about. So we're now in D. So all your G's become D's. D, E, F, G. All your C's become G's, and all your D's become A's. Okay, so that's how that works. I've used the chord wheel to help with this. Chord wheel, honestly, chord wheel is the greatest gift mankind ever gave to us. I remember when I was a little boy and my dad gave me my first guitar, and I was starting to figure out what chords went with what. And I remember filling out my own little chart, like there's this chord sounds really good with this chord, and I kind of got stuck at some point because there was like chords that didn't seem to make sense, and because I just wasn't knowledgeable. But basically, what I was doing was figuring out this circle of fifths by what sounded good together, and I probably had tons of mistakes, and that's why I got stuck. But at least that's the theory behind it, is that certain chords go well with others, and 1, 4, and 5 are always going to sound fine together. Okay, so we've done this song in G, and now then we did it in A. We don't like B or C, so we're trying it in D. So go with me. D chords, A chords are your A7s, right? So here's D chord, A7, and then you're also going to have G's to replace your C's. Let's try that. 1, 2. Silent night, holy night, all is calm. It feels weird, doesn't it? All is bright. G chord. Round yon virgin, D chord, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Okay, so now that just for me dropped it way down. Like in order to sing that, I got to go way down. What's fascinating about that is that a woman might go the opposite way. For me, I'm playing in D now. In order to sing where it makes sense to me, I got to drop my voice. But as a female, I might be able to raise my voice up to the next octave, and I might be in duck soup up there. It might feel really, really good. And so when you start talking about transposing, you're not going to have a 1-for-1 relationship with where the pitch goes on guitar. You do on piano, but not on guitar. And so you start messing around with it. Try different chords until you find one that really works for you. The last one that I would say, you're never going to do F, right? But you might do E, A, and B7. Okay. And so this one would sound like Silent night. That feels good. So far, holy night, all is calm. That's B7 back to E. All is bright. A chord. Round yon virgin mother and child. So that feels pretty good. So if I were to be singing this, I'd say, let's try E chord, right? Let's try it in the key of E, and then my D's become B's and my C's become A's. And it just gives you an opportunity to make songs fit your voice a little bit better. And so when you're a singer, transposing and using the circle of fifths is or chord wheel is what Bill's talking about, is super helpful. And normally what I do when I mess around with it just a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Then I go through and I rewrite the names of all the chords on there so I don't goof up. So I don't have to be thinking about that as I'm playing. I've already handwritten it in there. And that eliminates a little bit of cognitive dissonance when I get there. I have that problem all day long when I'm teaching ukulele and baritone, because this shape here is a D chord on baritone, but it's a G chord on ukulele. And so all day long, if I'm teaching whatever one I'm teaching, I'm always calling it the wrong name, and so that's just that business of transposing that's in your head. So those are your chords. You guys know I can't sing, so I'm not gonna waste your time with that. But you should try. Go through and just play around with it. Remember, when you're in 6/8, we usually count in 2, and you can actually see that in measure 1. You see that first little group of 3 notes. That's 1 beat, and then the next note, night, silent. That's one beat, and night is the next beat. There's really 6 little eighth notes in each of those measures. But generally speaking, when you're in 6/8, it's divided into 2 groups of 3, and that's why we counted in 2. Not always, but most of the time, it makes sense. Let's run through the melody, make sure you're good with that. And again, if you're a newer player, playing melody matters. And so please don't ever feel like you're sort of copying out by playing melody. That is so important to be able to play a solid, clean melody. And so let's do that. 1, 2. Beautiful, right? Really, really nice. If you're just playing that, if you just played that for Christmas, people go sit in the stairwell of your apartment complex and play that, let it echo up and down. People will come and listen to you. Really, you don't need to do anything else. You don't even need to worry about the chords. Just a really, really solid melody on that. One of the things I noticed, and probably worth talking about, at measure 9, I felt the song going up the neck, and I'm like, oh, I can tell that the sound's about to go further up the neck than I am right now. And I saw 5, and without really thinking about it, my hand just went up to that 5th position. And now I have 5, 6, 7, and 8 all covered. And boy, what do you know? 8 shows up right away. And I'm like, oh, cool. I dodged a bullet there. And so as I turned the page and grabbed for my 5, then I was already set up to play my 8s, minimized a bunch of jumping around over here, which is really cool. And then when I saw, okay, now I'm going to come back to the 5, and then I got to get 2, 3. Well, slide down, 2, 3. And then the next thing I thought was, I got to get to 7. I could lift up, go up here, put my pinky or ring finger on 7 and play that. I could do that. Or come in with 2, 3. Okay, drag it up. And different guitars will give you different results by doing that. If you're electric guitar, it's going to work out fine every time. But acoustic guitars, and it depends on nylon string versus metal string. Metal string tends to ring a little bit cleaner and louder and longer. can hear it quite readily. Nylon string depends on the guitar whether you're going to be able to pull much of that off. But it's kind of fun to get that on there. And then make sure anytime you see rising action with a big note at the top that's hanging out all by itself, that's a note that's begging for vibrato. So you're here at 3, come up to 7, and then you're going to do that, right? Just wiggle it back and forth. All I do, I like to, when I'm doing vibrato, I love using my pinky or my ring finger because they're kind of weak. And then just moving my hand in parallel with the fretboard. And I think you get a real nice effect there. I think it's fun to do. All right. So those are the things to think about on from a technical standpoint. Hey, when you see a 5 and you see you're going up the fretboard, man, get in 5th position and you got all of the next most likely notes covered already. And then anytime you see a note that's in rising action, hanging out by itself, go ahead and give it a little vibrato, especially if it's a longer note. It'll make you sound real nice. All right, let's play Tough Uke if you can. If you can't, let's play melody. If you're working on chords, you probably have G, D, and G, D7, and C pretty much in hand if you're here, probably. So you probably don't need to work on those. But let's see how the Tough Uke goes. I'm going to play it through as written, so I'll go down. Well, it's not 3 times, it's too many. Let's just play it through twice. Let's go down to 12, come back and play the whole time, play it a second time. I want to do, first time I'm going to do my thumb routine. Second time I'm going to try plucking it and see what's good and bad about each of those, and that way they'll help me decide long term what I'm going to do with this piece of music. From the top, 1, 2. Top. That's a good song. That's a good song, right? Again, another one where you don't have to be in a hurry to play. We like songs like that. Just take your time, let them develop and turn into something beautiful, and that feels good. All right, so here's your plan. Okay, if you have a couple Christmas tunes, don't send me a whole list of Christmas songs. Send me the two or three that you really love. I'll make sure I have them on my list, uh, and I'll see if we can get them into our rotation for this fall. And then remember, next Thursday we're not here. They'll give you a week, extra week, just to get your songs together. I always tell people you probably want to have a second notebook. Okay, your regular January through October music goes in there, and then November, December music is its separate notebook. And the reason is you're not going to play this stuff. You're not going to play Silent Night in July. Probably. If you do, you're weird, right? But you're probably not going to play that the rest of the year. So just put it in a separate book. I take that book. It sits on the shelf till September, sometimes the middle of October, and then I pull it out and I start going through which Christmas songs have I not arranged yet. And I'm down to Boar's Head Carol and sort of these weird songs that are super old fashioned. I want to make the ukulele players do some of them. And I think it'll be funny to watch them be like, I've never heard of this song. And I'll be like, oh, yes, this is a very important song from 1756. So we'll be going to do some of that. But keep that stuff in a separate book because you don't want to have to deal with it all year long. And then, so yeah, we'll put those together. Really, we'll just write out the rest of the season with Christmas songs. Not sure how January will look yet. Again, give me some ideas about songs that you're really dying to play. I can't promise you that I'll have time to do all the arrangements, but I love having ideas. A lot of times your ideas and my ideas line up, and sometimes I get ideas. Pele, she's not here tonight, but she sent me a Ashokan Farewell, and I was like, I don't know about that song. But the more I worked on it, I was like, oh, I really like this song. So we'll probably, it ends up getting mixed in. And it just happened that I had some time to toss it together for her. And then now I'm going to be using it for other stuff too. So like I say, let me know about stuff that you're interested in. And as you guys know, I'm pretty good at arranging smoochy woodgy, sounds pretty kind of music. I'm sort of the dentist office music guy of fingerstyle guitar. I like stuff that sounds pretty and isn't too hard to play. And so if those are songs that one or two of those, send them to me. We'll see what we can do. AC/DC, Metallica. I'm a little shaky on some of that stuff, but even though that's what I grew up listening to, that was my music. But in terms of playing it, no. In terms of arranging it, I don't do much with it. So let's see. What are the message? Let's see, Bill. What is the guitar? Oh, what's the guitar behind me? I should talk to you guys. It's come up a few times. This is actually my number one arranging tool. This is called a papoose, and it's got 6 strings, and it doesn't sound great. But here's what the one thing that is nice about it. It's small, so when I'm working on the computer, this sits in my lap, right? And I've been working this, and then I can go here and try it. I like the fact that it's a guitar, so it's got all the strings, so I can arrange for guitar on this. I also like that it's small, so it's similar in size to a baritone ukulele. And then what else is I've tuned this thing way high, so it's actually got ukulele tuning on it. Okay. So, and then because it's metal strings, it kind of almost sounds like a dulcimer. Let me. I'll keep you guys 1 minute over. Let me show you how it sounds. sound kind of cute. It's kind of fun to play because you're like, oh, I'm playing a guitar, but it's coming out in ukulele pitching, and it's kind of fun. It's called a Tacoma Papoose, and they don't make them anymore. Well, there are not that many people who are interested in something like that, but one of our ukulele orchestra members, she's had it in her collection. She's like, I gotta get rid of this, so I bought it from her. We traded out for something or other, and so I've been using this sort of as my main arranging tool because I can do ukulele and baritone and guitar all on one instrument. So that's what I'm doing that for. So yeah, thanks for asking about that. It sort of sits here. I don't know. I thought I'm going to sit it there so that it shows everything you can do. Thanks for asking, Bill. Fun. Yeah, you're welcome, Pauline. Have a wonderful day. It sounds crisp. What are the strings tuned to? It's GCEA, and then I can't remember what those two strings are tuned to. But I've got the lower four strings tuned to GCEA, so they're higher pitched, and then the two low strings are relative to whatever. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Yeah, so kind of a neat thing. It sounds like a dulcimer, right? It has that I don't know, different kind of high. I don't know. It's not really I don't know how to describe what dulcimer sound like, but in my mind it sounds like that. A soprano guitar. There you go. That's what it sounds like. Well, let me figure it out. Let's see. Let's see. I may have actually tuned it down too. Sometimes I tune it down. Sometimes it gets a little bit much. Where's my tuners on the guitar? I think it's a GCEA. I've tried different tunings on it for different things. Yeah, it's a little below GCEA right now, but this string's tuned to D, and this one's a G sharp. Yeah. So it's always relative, right? So it's 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, and then they all sound the same. But yeah, it's kind of a fun. I just like it for arranging because I'm not always looking to impress my computer or my cat. I'm just trying to make sure the notes are right, and so that's been a super handy tool for me. So yeah. All right, Elizabeth, Pauline, Bill, Vic, whoever else has been hanging out up here tonight. I think I got everybody. Can't tell. You guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you down the road somewhere. Remember, no class on Thursday, but do come back and check the website, and I will try to remember to toss you out an email when I got some stuff posted, so you will come by. And Nancy was here tonight. Oh, good to see you, Nancy. Glad you're here. And Bill, have a great weekend, and I will see all of you guys soon. Don't quit, right? Do a random act of kindness. Try to do a random act of kindness every day. Try to practice every day. Try to be safe every day. Keep showing up. I promise that you will be a better guitarist if you show up than if you try to go on your own. And like and subscribe if you haven't done that. And you guys know the drill. So thanks for being here. I'll see all of you guys down the road. Be good. Have a good night.